All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, can everybody hear me? Good morning. It is Friday morning, February the 9th, 2024, and it's good to be back together today. Hold on a second here. Um, and boy, yesterday was that was to finish to finish Manna yesterday, and then discover that I had been talking to myself the whole time was it was a little demoralizing in the moment, to tell you the truth. Like I thought, I can't redo that. But anyway, if you didn't realize recognize, I did go back and I retaught it, re-recorded it, and at that time I was all by myself, but you could actually hear me. So um, I do want to say thank you again. You guys were it was so sweet of you to hang with me through all of the silence, and it actually, the more I thought about that, it just it was very sweet of you. So anyway, thank you. All right, well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and it is again Friday the did I say February the 9th? It's Friday, February the 10th, and I have prepared, or Friday, February the 9th, but I have prepared like it was the 10th. And what I mean by that is, it just occurs to me, we're going to be looking at the Psalms for the 10th. So we're going to be looking at Psalm 10, Psalm Psalm 40, Psalm 130, and Psalm 100. So we're going to be looking at those Psalms today. And the title of today's Daily Manna is, Though I Can't Reach High Enough, He Can Reach Low Enough. I love that imagery, and what we'll see in these are almost all, or three of these are the psalmist David praying from a place of desperation, praying through a time of difficulty, and calling out to the Lord, calling out from the depths, um, and but in reminding us to wait on the Lord, to call on the Lord, to trust in the Lord. And so we open up in Psalm 10. Now, Psalms 9 and 10 are thought by some. Oh, I didn't put the title here. I'm sorry. All right. So we Psalms 9 and 10 are thought to be originally like one unit, because between the two of them they are an entire acronym, or acrostic, um, not acronym, an acrostic poem, psalm, going through all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. At the beginning of the verses. So, but we're going to be looking at Psalm 10, and so um, David cries out, "Why, Adonai, are you standing far off? Why hide yourself in times of trouble? Why, you're in a time of distress? This is at the very time it feels like I need you most. It seems like you're far away and hidden." Um, verse 2. Oh, I better get on it here. Hold on. Let's see here. There we go. Why, Adonai, are you standing far off? Why hide yourself in times of distress? And verse 2 says, "In pride, the wicked hotly hunts the poor. He's intensely in pursuit of those who are afflicted, those who are poor, those who are going through a difficult time. Let them be caught in the plots they have planned." Verse 3, "For the wicked one boasts about his soul's desire. The greedy one curses, reviling God." Now, the literal translation here, it actually paints a picture that really, even, it's super relevant in the world in which we live, the things that we experience, that we see, where it says, it's describing the wicked one here, and it says, he boasts, but it uses the word um, for praise, right? It uses the word for praise, hallel. The wicked one praises, um, he almost, the craving of his soul, what he is worshiping, what he is praising, what he is lifting up with a loud voice is his deepest desire, the craving of his soul. And the second part of the verse says, the greedy one curses, reviling God. And literally um, it says, and unjust gain or greed. It actually doesn't use the word curses here. It says an unjust gain, and it uses the word barecha or baruch. He blesses. What he worships his soul's desire. He praises his soul's desire, and he blesses. He kneels toward unjust gain, rejecting Adonai. So you have is this imagery of the idolatry of greed. This picture of what he praises, what he lifts up, what he talks about is whatever he craves. And what he blesses is his greed or his unjust gain. He's worshiping his greed, rejecting the Lord. You can't love God and love money, right? And again, it's not about you can't have money, it's about you can't love money. What are you in pursuit of? What is it that drives you? And the pursuit of gain and greed, and that's where your praise ends up being. That's what you lift your voice about, and it becomes this rejection of the Lord. The wicked one, with his nose in the air, never seeks him. All his thoughts are, there is no God. The wicked one, it says, he's not seeking the Lord. He's not searching for the Lord. It says, there is no God in all of his plotting or his devising. All of his thoughts are, there is no God, but literally it says, there is no God in all of his devising. He's not thinking about the Lord. In all of his planning and he's not stopping to start with, Lord, what do you want? His ways are secure all the time. He haughtily disregards your judgments. He snorts at all his adversaries. That middle phrase, he haughtily disregards your judgments. Again, the literal translation is from on high, or in the heights are your judgments, from being made known to him. And so it's this imagery of your justice is high, far from being revealed to him. It's out of his sight, right? But it looks like his ways are prosperous all time, and he is not concerned about justice. He's not concerned. It's nowhere in his view, and he scoffs, snorts at his adversaries. He says in his heart, I'll never be shaken. From generation to generation, nothing bad will happen, right? It's the conversation in his heart. This is where the problem is. It's not in the performance. In our day, now a lot of people know how to, there are a lot of people that just are like, you know what, I'm going to be arrogant and proud, and I'm just going to embrace that. And okay, but there are a lot of times where you can know how to, that this won't be well received. So there are people that, play the game, or but here the issue is what he's saying in his heart. I always think about the story of Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel chapter 4, when the Lord warns him with this dream of what's coming, and Daniel comes to him and says, unfortunately, King, this is about you, but perhaps if you will if you will take care of the poor and those who are struggling, if you will do justice, if you'll do these things, perhaps the Lord will relent. Perhaps it won't happen, because this is more of a warning. And so it was a year later that Nebuchadnezzar is on the roof of his house, of his palace, and you get the sense that he's basically by himself. Sure, there's probably servants around there. There's those that are around there, but it's not as though he's, before the crowds, saying, exalting himself and all this stuff. He's just by himself, and he goes, "Look what I've done. Look at my kingdom. Look what I've done." And he's exalting himself in his pride, and it was in that moment before the words came off of his lips that the judgment came. That eventually that judgment that brought him to a place of brokenness, that he eventually exalted the Lord. But the issue isn't the things we say with our mouth as much as the things we say in our heart. Eventually the stuff in our hearts will overflow. It'll boil over from our lips. But you can say the right stuff. The question is, what are the thoughts that you're nurturing in your heart? And so the wicked one says in his heart, in all of his planning, he doesn't think about God. He said, "I'll never be shaken. I got different. No calamity is going to occur. Not for me. Not for my kids or my grandkids. Not from generation to generation. We're good." His mouth is full of cursing, lies, and oppression. Or that word for cursing isn't necessarily about swearing, using foul words. It's more about false oaths. There's no reliability. There's no truth there. It's all cursing and lies and oppression, false oaths and fraud and oppression. On his tongue are trouble and iniquity. He lies in ambush near villages. In hidden places, he slays the innocent. His eyes watch in secret for the helpless. Right? There is no thought of God in his eyes. He lurks in a hiding place like a lion in thicket. He lies in wait to catch the helpless. He catches the unfortunate one, dragging him away in his net. There is so much corruption in our world. There are so many who build their wealth off of bilking the poor. They build their strength and their lives and happily taking advantage of people, not being concerned about the well-being of people. So often you'll have landlords of very big apartment buildings or whatever, that the kind of things that they do, the injustices that they do. Many times you'll have wealthy people who will know that they can intimidate people by taking them to court, and these people can't afford good attorneys, and they just take advantage. Their plans are, and almost without conscience, they don't see the humanity in the people that they're taking advantage of, and they're just looking for opportunities to just feed their greed. And that's you can see it can see. It's not when you read this, you're like, who are these people? Because I imagine for most of us in our circles, in our close circles, we don't encounter. Now, I don't know about in your work environments and the things that you encounter, but this stuff happens. There's so much injustice in the world. So many people that are so happy, and all they care about is themselves. They're happy to just take advantage, and then convince themselves, "I'm fine." If they were dumb enough to do it, then that's their problem. That's often the mindset. The victim is crushed, brought down, and falls into his mighty claws. He says in his heart, "God is forgotten." He hides his face. He'll never see it. Verse 12, David cries out, "Arise, stand up, Adonai. Arise, Adonai. O God, lift your hand. Do not forget the afflicted." Do not forget the afflicted. Why does the wicked one revile or disdain, treat God so shamefully? And he says in his heart, You will never require, and the word is midrash here, to look into, to investigate. You'll never investigate anything. Like, he thinks that he can just go on in his injustice without consequence from generation to generation. But David says, you saw. Because you see trouble and grief to take it into your hand. Like, I know who you are, Lord. I know that you saw. I know that you know what's going on. The victim puts his trust in you. He has the language for him putting his trust in you. It says, upon you he has abandoned himself. He has committed himself. Everything is on you, Lord. I have completely laid my life upon you. My trust is in you. The victim puts his trust in you, the one who has been mistreated. He says, you are the helper of the orphan. Break the arm of the wicked, evil one. Call him to account, and that it's the same word, midrash. Investigate, look into it, deal with it for his wickedness until no more is found. Adonai is king forever and ever. Nations will be wiped off his land. You, verse 17, you hear, Adonai, the desire of the meek. You encourage them and incline your ear. You vindicate, you bring justice. That word vindicate is mishpat. You bring justice to the orphan and to the oppressed. Here is the word crushed. There's this word in Hebrew, dekah, which is like an onomatopoeia that in the way, like an onomatopoeia is a word that sounds like the thing that it is, like the word buzz, bzz, So dekah is the onomatopoeia for crushed, because it's the imagery of wheels rolling over, crushing to dekah, 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 dekah. So that's it. So that's the imagery, and you are the one who brings justice to the one that is the fatherless, that is alone and has no protector and can be taken advantage of so easily, and then the ones who are just rolled over and over, crushed. You are the one who vindicates them, so that man who is earthly may terrify no more. And it says he won't be able to do this again and again and again and again. There's this within the terrify no more. There's this idea of the just the repeated cycle of this. But Lord, you're the one who will bring justice, and it's a calling on, a waiting for the Lord's justice. Psalm 40. Oh, sorry, I skipped that verse. Psalm 40 is again a psalm of David. So here he cries out to the Lord. In Psalm 40, he opens up and says, he says, Kavo kiviti, waiting I waited, hoping I hoped. And so that's translated here, I waited patiently for Adonai. I waited and waited. I hoped upon hope for Adonai. He bent down to me and heard my cry. Right? He shemad, he heard and heeded my cry. He brought me up out of the slimy pit, or the word is for cistern or a well or even grave. So the imagery of being in a well, being deep in a well where you can't get out. And I called on the Lord. I waited on the Lord. I couldn't reach high enough. I could do nothing to get myself out of this. But he could reach down low enough. He brought me up out of the cistern, out of the slimy pit, out of the grave, out of the mud and mire. And then he set my feet on a rock. He made my steps firm. So I went from muddy, my being stuck in the mud, in the depths of a well, in the depths of a cistern, unable to get out, to being taken out and being set on a place of stability, on a rock. And my steps now were made firm. He gave me a new song. He gave a new song to my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and trust Adonai. Blessed is the one who puts his trust or his confidence in Adonai, who has not turned to the arrogant, nor to those who fall into falsehood. Many things you have done, Adonai, my God. Your plans, your thoughts your calculations, that's the idea is your thoughts are for us are miraculous. They are wonderful. These what you are going to do is full of wonder and awe. There is none to be compared to you. If I were to speak and tell them, they would be too many to count. There's nobody, he says, there's nobody who's in the same, who lines up with you. There's no one in your category. Your thoughts are miraculous. If I were to begin to disclose them, to make them known, they'd be more than I could begin to count. So now, this is where it's fascinating to me. This passage we come to in verse 7 is a passage that has is quoted in Hebrews chapter 10 verses 5 through 7, and it's pointing to Yeshua. And so on the heels of here David is saying, blessed is the one who puts his trust in you, has not turned to the arrogant nor to those who fall into falsehood. Many things you have done, right here it says, many things you have done, Adonai my God. Your plans for us are wonderful. They're full of wonder. And so what are his plans? And there's imagery here now in these next verses that point to Yeshua. And David says here, like, sacrifice and offering is not what you wanted. That word you did not desire, chafetz. It's not what you delight in. It's not what you want. It's not the will of your heart. It's not about sacrifice and offering. He says, my ears you have opened. Burnt offering and sin offering. It says you did not require. So it's not what you requested. And then I said, here I am. Hine, look, it says, Hine ba'ata, look in my coming. Look, I'm coming, he says. In the scroll of a book, it is written about me. I delight to do your will. Oh my God. Yes, your Torah, your instruction is within my being. Right? So that what you've desired, you've written your word upon my heart. I want to do what you want. I want to do, my desire is to do what is pleasing to you, Lord. That's what's been written upon my heart. The reality here about, it's not about, you weren't looking for sacrifice and burnt offering and all that stuff. That's not what you wanted. That's not at the heart of your desire. You want me to have to trust your word, to trust what you say, for your instructions not to be something that goes in one ear and out the other, but that goes in and is engraved on my heart, so that now I want what you want, that I'm being shaped into your likeness. It says, I proclaim good news of righteousness in the great assembly. Behold, look, I am not shutting my lips. I'm not going to shut up. Adonai, you know. He says, I did not hide or conceal your righteousness in the center of my being or in the center of my heart. Rather, I declared your faithfulness and your Yeshua, your salvation. I did not hide or conceal your chesed and your truth from the great assembly. I just didn't keep it in. I declared it. I lifted my voice. And then verse 12 here, now it's I believe that I read this as a proclamation, not a plea. Because here the translation says, Adonai, do not withhold your compassions from me. Let your mercy and truth always protect me. But it opens up with, it says, you, Adonai. Ata Adonai, you, Lord, don't withhold your compassions from me. Right? There's a proclamation of trust here. He says, you, Adonai, don't withhold your compassions from me. Your love, your truth always, continually protect me. Right? This is a declaration of trust about who you are, Lord. He says, for evils beyond number surround me. My sins have overtaken me. I cannot see. They are more than the hairs on my head, and my heart fails me. Adonai, please deliver me. Adonai, come quickly to help me. So the depths in which he finds himself, evils beyond number, right? Excuse me. What did I just do? Oh, that was a mistake. Evils beyond number surround me, he says. Oof, sorry. What verse are we on? 13? Yeah. Evils beyond number surround me, and my sins have overtaken me, or have caught up with me. They've chased me down. That's the overtaken is they've caught up with me. And so he's finding himself in this pit, and he's calling out to the Lord from the depths. But the Lord has reached down. He's remembering what the Lord has done. The Lord reached down into this pit and has set him on a rock. So here he's recalling that, and he says, Adonai, please deliver me. Come quickly to help me. Let those who seek my life to sweep it away be put to shame and humiliated. Let those who are delighting in my evil, in my calamity, in my destruction. Let those who wish me evil, who want their delight is calamity for me, let them be turned back in disgrace. By the way, from right about here, if verse 14 through the end of this chapter, the next psalm we would read normally today, Psalm 70, Psalm 40 and 70. Psalm 70 is this almost exactly the same as the last 6 verses of this passage. Let those who say to me be appalled, or aha, aha, be appalled over their own shame. Let all those who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. Let those who love your salvation continually say, Adonai is great. Adonai be magnified. Right? I love, Lord, let me be magnified in my understanding, in my perspective, in my eyes. He says, but I am poor and needy. Yet my Lord is mindful, is thinking of me. You are my help and my deliverer. Oh my God, do not delay. And then Psalm 130, it says, out of the depths I cry to you, Adonai. Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to the sound of my supplications. If you, Adonai, kept a record of my iniquities, my Lord, who could stand? For with you there is forgiveness, so that you may be revered. I wait, or I will wait for Adonai. My soul waits, and in his word I hope. Sorry. My soul waits for my Lord, more than watchmen for the morning. Watchmen for the morning. O Israel, wait for Adonai. Hope in Adonai, for with Adonai there is loving kindness, and with him is full redemption, and he will redeem Israel from all its iniquities. Amen. Amen. And then finally, let's look at this psalm of praise. He has redeemed us. He's picked us up out of the pit. And it's a psalm of thanksgiving. Shout joyfully to Adonai, all the earth. Serve Adonai with gladness. Come before his presence with joyful singing. Know or recognize that he is God. It's he who made us, and we are his. We are his. We are his people. We are the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and an acknowledging of him, and into his courts with praise. Praise him, bless his name, for Adonai is good, his loving kindness, his love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations. All right, well, hey, sorry about the continued these technical difficulties. I'm going to get this re-recorded, it's recorded. I'm going to just replace what's there, and all right. Well, Shabbat Shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom. Have a beautiful day.